Right now, I'm joined by Chris Bryant. He's been a Labour MP for 10 years, and he was the person who originally called for the debate into phone hacking that took place last week. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Tell me how you feel things have gone since that debate that you called for on hacking. It's been a very busy week.
In one way, it's extraordinary. You know, we've seen the Prime Minister's two closest friends have been arrested. I mean, that's in itself quite extraordinary. And the two most senior police officers in this country, running the whole of the Metropolitan Police and all of counter-terrorism, have had to resign, as well as, you know, many other people have been drawn into this whole scandal. And it's a three-headed scandal because there's the original criminality at the News of the World, people hacking into people's phones. There's the hush-up organised by News International and News Corp, and then there's the involvement of the Metropolitan Police, who were frankly collusive with News International.
And you're going to be on one of the committees this afternoon.
No, I'm not on the committee. I'll be watching. But,
You'll be watching.
Yeah.
What happens after this? We have an emergency session in Parliament tomorrow. But do we know what they can do with the evidence? What do you expect to happen in the coming weeks?
Well, one of the things that has happened over the years is that News International and the Metropolitan Police have systematically lied to Parliament and hidden the truth from us. So this is part of dragging some of that truth out. But in the end, the most important thing is the police are now doing the investigation, which they could have done in 2006 and refused to do, quite probably for very nefarious reasons. And that police investigation has already arrested a series of different people. It's looking at corruption within the Metropolitan Police and within News International. And I think that the water is frankly lapping at the ankles of the Murdoch family.
And what happens today when they speak is their testimony essentially goes on record, and it will be very difficult for James or Rupert or Rebecca Brooks to defer from that at any point in the future. How much do you think MPs will be able to get out of them? They're only talking to them for an hour or so.
Indeed, when you bear in mind that Rebecca Brooks, one of the people that they're talking to, was interrogated by the police for 12 hours on Sunday. This is the Prime Minister's closest ally in the media, was interrogated by the police for 12 hours. Just let that sink in for a moment. The MPs are only going to have an hour today. You can get things out. In 2003, I asked Rebecca Brooks, have you ever paid police officers for information?
What do you think will be the key thing MPs will be driving to get out of them in that short time?
Why was there a hush-up? Why did you pay £2 million to two individuals to hush all of this up in 2007?
And do you think that that will then play into the police investigation?
It will, but it takes big questions to News Corp on a whole international scale, because did the board members of News Corp make sure that the criminality that was being alleged in the organisation was being exposed or had been dealt with, or were they were cooperating with the police?
And do you think that if the Murdochs make some offer of increased transparency, that will be something that the MPs would like to hear today, or is that for a later date?
Well, they'd like to hear that they're telling the truth for a start, but I think they'd also like to hear that they're ashamed of what went on their watch and that take some degree of responsibility for it. Rupert Murdoch can't say, oh, this went off on some tiny little backwater in another part of the world when I was swanning around in New York, running far more important things in the or in Hollywood running Fox Studios.
He's got to own up to it today.
He's got to fess up. He's got to take it fairly and squarely on the chin himself.
Mr. Bryant, thank you so much for joining us today.